Hello guys, and welcome to this Chemistry 107 video provided to you by the OASIS. You're probably watching this video because you like chemistry or because you're taking the 107 course and you want to graduate. On either cases. In this short video we're going to be talking about chemical reactions and equations, but before we move on, we really want to know what do we mean by reactions. Well, you can think of reactions as a reaction basically happening between two or more entities or compounds or molecules, which are called the reactants, to make something new, to produce something new, which are actually called the products. But how do we know that a reaction actually took place? Well, there are some like indicators that a reaction happened. The first one is color change. So basically whenever the compound changes color or the liquid changes color, the reaction happened. Or the evolution of gas, in which you should be careful with that. Or precipitation, which is basically the formation of solid in the liquid. Or heat change, which could be like cold to hot or hot to cold. So, but how do we know what are the reactants and the products of a reaction? Well, luckily we have chemical equations. So basically chemical equations, like any other equation, had two sides. So if we want to represent the reaction of nitrogen monoxide plus oxygen, which will give us nitrogen dioxide, we basically present it as 2NO plus O2, which gives us 2NO2. And the arrow basically shows the direction of the reaction. So sometimes these equations are unbalanced. So the definition of an unbalanced equation is if the numbers of it's an equation in which the number of atoms of each element on the right side are not equal to that of the left side. Straightforward, right? So if we want to balance these equations, we have to basically, by that, like how do we balance these equations, is that basically we just change the coefficients of each of the compounds or molecules in the equation. So enough of the theoretical talk, let's do an example. So in this first example, we see that we have NO, which is basically nitrogen and oxygen, plus oxygen, which is O2 because it's a gas, and the direction of the reaction shows that we have NO2. So if we look carefully, we see that we have one atom of nitrogen and 3 atoms of oxygen on the left side, and one atom of nitrogen and 2 atoms of oxygen on the right side. So we see that there is not an equal number of oxygen atoms on both sides. So this is basically an unbalanced equation. So before we go on balancing the equation, how about we just see some hints that help us balance the equations. So these hints will basically help us in order to not get lost and use a lot of numbers and multiply here and there. So basically you can only change the coefficients, never the subscripts, and this is very important because some people fall into this mistake. And also balance elements that occur only once on each side of the equation. So if n happens on the left side once, it happens on the right side once, start with that. And balance free elements, such as the O2 in this example, balance groups of atoms as one unit. So in our example, NO plus O2 gives us NO2. So basically we notice that N occurs once on both sides of the equation, so we start with that. So we just multiply that by 2 because it affects the O basically, which is what we're balancing, and we have to multiply by that 2 on the other side, not because we have to multiply them, but just to make them equal. So we have 4 atoms of O, 2 atoms of N, 4 atoms of O, and 2 atoms of N on both sides, and this is a balanced equation. So for example 2, we have triethylene glycol, which is C6H14O4, and this is the equation, how it's the combustion of it basically. We have these numbers of oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, or oxygen on the left side, and these numbers of atoms on the right side. So basically we notice that none of the carbons or oxygens or hydrogens are balanced. So let's start with balancing the oxygen, which is like we have 6 here and 6 there by multiplying the CO2. Now for balancing hydrogen, we just multiply it by 7 to make 14 on this side and 14 on the left side. For balancing the oxygen, well, we see that we have 7 oxygen, 7 plus 12 basically is 18, 7 plus 12 is 19. So basically we have 19 of oxygens on the right side and only 6 on the left side. So basically to get to that number we multiply by 15 over 2 to get 15 oxygens on both sides basically. Okay, so 15 plus 4 on the left side is 19, and 7 plus 12 on the right side is 19. So we basically have 19 on both sides. So we multiply to get rid of the fraction. We multiply both sides of the equation by 2. So we have 2 times C6H14O4, H14O4, and 15O2, 12CO2, and 14H2O. And this is our balanced equation. So thank you guys for watching this. I hope this helped you. Please like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter. Thank you again, and have a great day.